Good morning, YouTube family. Today we're going to grow us some purple plum radish. This is a very interesting radish. I thought you might like to check it out this year in your garden. So we'll be right back in just a minute or so and we'll get started on this. The way I like to do my radishes is I like to do them in containers because it's easy to get to, it's easy to water, and it's easy to harvest. And it takes up just a little bit of space, and I get a very high yield out of a small area. I use these containers here. I got them at Lowe's. They're real cheap. And what you want to look for on your container is right here is a little, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little recycle triangle with it's got a number 5 in the middle, number 5 PP underneath it. That right there means it's safe for growing food products in it. So I can grow my vegetables in this container and I don't worry about it. The next step in the process is I drill some holes in here. As you can see, I've drilled several holes. I want to have a good drainage in here. I don't want it to stand in water in the bottom. It causes root rot on my radishes because this is a root product, a root vegetable. So you don't want it wet in there. You just want it to be just a little bit moist. So I got my holes drilled. Next thing you're looking for in your containers is you want at least 6 inches for radishes, and as you can see, I'm about 6.5 inches deep. So that's plenty for radishes. So first thing I do is I mix up my soil is 1 part peat and 2 parts potting mix, which I've already mixed up. And once I have that ready to go, I have that peat in there because I want that peat to help retain moisture in this container so it doesn't dry out. The peat doesn't really add any nutritional value. What it does is it helps to retain the water. Okay, you don't want to put any fertilizer in with your radishes. Don't put anything to fertilize them. All the fertilizer does is cause them to bolt and you don't get the good radish. So just put it in just the plain old soil with the peat and water it regularly and you'll have good results. So let's get this thing full of dirt. I like to fill the container up to where it's just about 1 inch from the top. That leaves kind of a basin in the top of this container, so when I'm watering, it'll have a place to catch that water so it doesn't run out. And that looks like that's pretty even. Okay, flatten it out, got it in, about 1 inch down. Looks good, okay? Okay, I got my soil in just right to suit me. Now, next step is I'm gonna moisten this down real good. And what this does is it gets that soil pliable and it helps it to kind of pack itself just a little bit. So when I use my template, it'll be able to hold the shape of the holes. And I'll show you that in just a second. Let me get this watered down. Okay, now we'll let this settle down and soak down through the container, and then we'll take it to the next step. Okay, we've got it saturated and it's soaked down, and the next step is I tap the container just a little bit. A couple of taps, that helps to set that soil down deep. Then I used my template, and I made this up because I use many of these containers, and I grow extra dwarf bok choy, all kinds of radishes. So if I have several of these containers to do, it made it worth my while to make a template to fit in it. And this one gives me 36 holes on 3-inch centers. And when I push it in, it goes down 3/4 of an inch deep. Of course, we're not going to plant our seed with that much soil on top of it. I'm going to show you how to do that next. So here's how we use the template. I put the template in, and all I do is just push it down in. Pull the template straight out, and you can see the pattern of holes is just right. Makes it easy to do. Next step is I take the seeds. I'm getting some seeds in my hand, and the hardest part of the job is to get that little tiny seed where you're only picking up one seed at a time. So you just want to get one seed in each hole. Okay, one seed per hole. Let me get all the seeds in, and we'll be right back, and we'll take it to the next step. Okay, remember I said we don't want to cover the seed just because the hole was 3/4 of an inch deep. Doesn't mean that's how deep we bury it. I had to make the peg on the template 3/4 of an inch deep, because if I try to make it only 1/4 of an inch deep, it's so small that I can't make the wood work that way. So I had to make it at least 3/4. It allows me to push a hole down in there, and I've got the seed in. And to cover that seed, all I do is I collapse the hole around the side, and then I cover that up. And as you can see, it's not level with the top of the hole. Let me do one up here close where you can get a good view of it. Can you see right in here real good? Mm-hmm. Can you see my hand right there?
Yes.
Okay, see how it's in there? Mm-hmm. I just collapse the sides. And see, it still does it. Let's do one more over here so we're not in the shadow. Let's do right here. See that hole right there? Mm-hmm. And if I close up that hole, I collapse the side and I do it down, pack it down a little bit. You can see it's not level with the top surface, so it's not 3/4 of an inch deep. It's really only been buried about 1/4 of an inch to maybe 3/8 of an inch deep. And it'll leave like a dimple in here. That's the depth you want to get it at, because if you bury them too deep, they're just gonna rot. So let me go ahead and get all these covered up. We'll go to the next step. Okay, we got her set up. Here's some radishes we're already growing. They're ready to start eating. And I'm gonna let these sit out here in the days ahead, and we'll come back and we'll monitor the progress of these up until the point that we actually harvest them and put them in the salad. So we'll be back in about, we'll do the increments about every 10 days. So we'll be back in about 10 days. Well, our purple plum radish have been in a container for 10 days, so I wanted to give you an update to let you take a look at the progress they've made. They're growing quite well, so we'll be back in another 10 days, and we'll take another look at them. And we'll see you soon. Okay, it's been 25 days since these purple plums had been planning, but I was going to come at the 20-day mark, but we had a huge storm that came through, lots of hail, lots of wind and rain, and this week it finally quit raining. So this is the first chance I've had to come out here and take a look at them. They've actually grown quite a bit, and they've only got, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 more days, and I'll harvest them. So you can see I've got plenty of foliage, and if you'll come on up close here, I'll show you the purple plum radishes. You can see there's some right there. Let me go ahead and pull one out, and I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll harvest the rest of them in a couple of days. So let me pull this out. If you can see this, nice and purple. It'll look a lot better when I wash it off, but you can see it's a nice looking radish. Okay, so we'll be back in 2 or 3 days, and we'll do come out here and harvest up the rest of these and wash them off and show you how pretty they really are. So we'll see you back in 3 days. Well, our purple plum has had a really tough time trying to battle the heat. This is basically a fall radish, but I tried to sneak one in because we have such a cold spring here in Virginia. I thought maybe we could get one in to show you what they look like, but they're not the best by doing it in the spring, so I highly recommend that you wait until fall to plant these. But today I wanted to pull out some just to show you what they look like. So let's come over here and take a closer look at it, and we'll see what we got. Okay, I cleaned up these purple plums, and they're really a beautiful radish. If I would recommend growing these in the fall and not in the spring. Even though it was really cold here, traditionally cold here in our spring, I can usually get a good crop of radishes. But these purple plums, they seem to be a little more sensitive to the heat than your average radish. So I wouldn't try to do these in the spring, so hold off until the fall. But as you can see, they make a really beautiful plum colored radish, and I'll try these again next fall so I can get a little more of them, because they make a real pretty ponytail kimchi, won't they, baby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm still thankful for anything that I get from my garden. I always thank God for that. So until we see you next time, we always ask you to subscribe to our channel if you like our videos, and always remember, by His hands we are fed. Give us, Lord, our daily bread. Amen.
Have a blessed day. Thanks for watching our videos. We really love making them. If you like our videos, please like our Facebook page to get the latest tips and tricks. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the newest video. Like it, it would really inspire and encourage us. But most importantly, share it to encourage others. We'll welcome your comments and questions. Thank you. Have a blessed day.